Okay, so today we're going to be talking about the distributive property. So here is the worksheet that we're going to be looking at, and I want to actually talk about number 6 first so that I can explain what the distributive property is. So on number 6, it says that we have two groups of 1 plus 8a. So if we were to write this out, this really means that we want 2 of 1 plus 8a and 1 plus 8a. So this 2 represents how many of what is inside the parentheses we want. So really, we want 1 plus 8a and 1 plus 8a. When we combine like terms, we have 2 and 16a. So this 2 tells you how many, so I have 2 of them. And then if you write it out and combine like terms, this is what we end up with. But we have a shortcut because writing out like number 4, where it has 8, of the a plus 5s, it's going to take a long time too. So mathematicians found shortcuts and saw that there was a pattern. So the pattern is called the distributive property. So what we do is we're going to distribute or multiply this 2 to each of the terms inside of the parentheses. And a term is a number or a number and a letter separated by like usually a plus or a subtraction sign. So we have 2 terms in here. Each of the terms is going to get multiplied by 2. So instead, if I did it this way, I would have 2 times 1 and 2 times 8a. So when I multiply 2 times 1, I get 2, and 2 times 8, because you multiply your numbers, you get 16 with an a left. So notice that I got the same answer, but instead I'm using the shortcut of multiplying it through instead of writing it out. But you get the same answer, and this is how the distributive property was made or created. Isn't that nifty? Okay, so let's try one that has a negative sign because those seem to be a little bit trickier. You're going to do the same process. So we're going to distribute this guy on the outside to both terms inside of the parentheses. Now be careful on your negative because this is not just a minus sign, but it is a negative as well. And this needs to be grouped with your number that is following it. So I suggest you put it in a bubble and then don't break your bubble. Okay, so distributive property needs to multiply, so we're going to multiply each term by the number on the outside. So we have 10 times 4, and always put a plus sign, 10 times our negative 10x. If you put your negative in a bubble and carry it down, then you're less likely to make a mistake. There are other ways to do this as well. This is just one way to explain it. 10 times 4 is 40, and 10 times negative 10x would give you negative 100x. Now, normally we don't put this plus sign here. If this is a correct answer, you could leave it as is, or you could rewrite it to get rid of that cute little plus sign that you don't need. And here is a great answer too. So this is the distributive property. Now, we have some equations with the distributive property, and we're going to use the same process, but this time we're going to solve. Notice on 2 and 6 that we did, they don't have equal signs, so they're not equations. They're just expressions, and it also says it up here, expressions. So that means you can't solve or get x by itself. But down here, we have equal signs, so these are equations, and we're going to solve and get x, or in this case, n, all by itself. So we start with the same process. Parentheses come first, as our order of operations say. So we're going to multiply, because that's what the distributive property is, our outside number by the terms on the inside of our parentheses. So we have 4 times 1 and 4 times 4n. We also have that equals negative 92. And we're going to simplify the left-hand side and then solve. So 4 times 1 gives us 4, and 4 times 4n is 16n. So that gives us our negative 92. Okay, so now we're trying to get the n by itself, so we have a party problem. And in our party problem, you and your best friend are the 16n. So remember, you and your best friend leave the party last. Well, I guess you don't leave the party, but your best friend leaves the party last. And these other folks, they need to leave the party first. So anything not attached to the variable needs to be moved first or gotten rid of. Remember, this is an equation, so what we do to one side, we need to do on the other side to keep everything nice and balanced. So 4 subtract 4 cancels out, which is what we want. We want to remove things from the side that the variable is on. Left over, we have our 16n, and we have negative 96, because I combined my negative 92. Remember, same signs, we add our numbers and we kept the sign. Okay, now we're going to get our n by itself. So what we do is we do the opposite. N and 16 are getting multiplied, so the opposite is division. What we do to one side, we do to the other side. Please remember to show your work so we can see what your process is. Notice that my work is nice and easy to follow. Isn't that fancy? Okay, so now we're going to divide negative 96 by 16. Okay, and we get 6. And remember, a negative divided by a positive is also a negative. So here is my answer. Okay, what this answer means is that if I plugged in my negative 6 to where my variable is n, then I would get negative 92 on the left-hand side, which would be equal to negative 92 on the right-hand side. And that's what an equation is, an equal, save it.